Hi, everybody. It is Psychic Medium Kelly Miller. Sorry, I was like mowing down some food. So hopefully everybody can kind of hear me. If this is really pretty interactive, so if you guys have questions, this is your opportunity to ask. I like to do this at least once a month and kind of give the opportunity for my peeps to ask some questions here. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm going to turn everything up. Turn everything up so you can hear me. So, and then I was just going to talk to you guys a little bit about the month of July here coming up. It is July 1st, but I am going to tell you what, this July it's coming in nice and fine, but it's going to leave pretty hard. So I'm here to tell you that this month right now, there's 4 planets in retrograde. Starting on the 7th, Mercury will then go retrograde. So when Mercury goes retrograde, all of us know we miscommunicate. Anything electronic, anything mechanical has a tendency to break down. So I always think of Mercury retrograde being like a mechanic's dream, right? Because anything that's going to break is going to. So like I said, understand that this July, I can tell you that starting at the beginning of this month, you're going to be a certain way. By the end of the month, it's going to change you. So everybody's going to have some sort of a lesson come up to them. And like I said, your job is to figure out what you're learning within this. I've been doing, if you don't know me and if you've never gotten a reading from me, I do use tarot cards sometimes as a guide to help me out. And I have seen repeatedly over and over and over, there's just going to be point blank challenges this month. So I'm going to tell you what, go with the flow. So a lot of unexpected things are going to be happening. So just kind of, like I said, go with the flow here. This is going to be pretty kind of crazy, but hold on your hats, right? So, oh, Helen's saying hi. So I'm supposed to be doing an comedy improv class tonight, but unfortunately I had this scheduled and I really couldn't get out of it. So hi to Helen, hi to my improv class, but I won't be able to make it tonight. Sorry. So like I said, Mercury retrograde starting. This is also considered an eclipse season, meaning that there's a lunar eclipse on the new moon, which is tomorrow. And then we have another eclipse with another new moon in the same month. So that's called a black moon. That's going to be coming at the end of the month with the full moon. And I'm going to tell you what, that one's going to bring some stuff up. So it's like I said, the beginning of the month, not so bad. End of the month, that shit crazy. So we'll be out of this by August 2nd, and hopefully everything will kind of die down then. But if you guys remember right, last year, August was really difficult. So this year, this July, that's going to be pretty difficult. A lot of times, I'm going to tell you what, this is makeup, breakup point. This is when people pack their crap, move across the state of, whatever, and start a brand new job, you're going to see a lot of drama. You really, really are. I am going to fair warn you that if you do know people that are mentally unstable, so people that struggle with addictions or struggle with suicide or struggle with, mental instability, please check up on them this month, especially towards the end of the month, because it's going to be difficult. And sometimes all it takes is a simple phone call from a friend, okay? So keep in touch with each other. Like I said, this is going to be a rough month coming up, but after this, we should have some smooth sails. So good luck, right? A couple of things that are going to help you that my awesome fiance grabbed for me because I forgot to grab them from work. And I'm going to show you here. If you don't know, I co-own a business with my husband, and it's called Awakenings. Did I say fiance? Oh, baby, that's so cute. We've been married twice. I know, we've been married twice, right? So anyway, I want to show you guys this. So this is black tourmaline. And if you don't know anything about black tourmaline, everybody should have this in their arsenal. Okay, so these are black tourmaline bracelets. There's 2 sizes, small, big, whatever. I'm going to tell you what, you're going to want them by the end of the month. What this does is 2 things. One, it helps to ground you down. And grounding down means opening up that root chakra. So it just helps to keep with stability and balance, okay? The other thing it does that's really kind of cool, it really squashes negativity, or at least it keeps it away from you, so you at least have a fighting chance, all right? So black tourmaline is everybody's friend this month, okay? The other thing I'm going to tell you, and this is something that if you've ever caught me like at Target or out shopping, you're going to see me wearing this thing a lot. This is called a grounding pendant, and this is a little extra hoo-ha. So this black tourmaline's great, but if you need a little extra punch, that's what this thing does. And what's so cool about these is you can see on the back, this is what grounds you, but it opens up your root chakra immediately. This also makes people's feet and toes kind of tickle, and it makes them kind of feel funny. That's how quick it works. So this is my saving grace. So this is what I use when I go shopping with public. So this way, if I have trouble tapping out and I want to protect my energy, the grounding pendant's going to do that. So again, we have those at Awakenings too. So, like I said, I just kind of wanted to give you guys just some heads up products that might be able to help you for this month. But I'm going to tell you what, if you have some instability issues, if you have any instability issues, especially emotionally speaking, get your ass outside. So feet to earth, that really helps out a lot. You're going to hear me say this a lot, but it really does help. The other thing is spend a little bit of time alone. I know a lot of people have issues with spending time alone, or they don't like to, but I'm going to tell you what, spending time alone is, your self-talk is going to be really important this month. And so make sure you spend some time alone and not just preoccupied all the time, all right? And then lastly, if you're thinking about signing contracts, if you're thinking about making big purchases, if you're thinking about doing big things, do them before the 7th. Otherwise, wait until after the 2nd before you want to sign any contracts, any deals, anything like that. Because when you sign a contract in Mercury Retrograde, the fine print's going to bite you in the ass. So really watch that. Try not to do any contract stuff, okay? Okay. I'm going to start in with questions. What does it mean when I'm meditating or about to fall asleep and I feel a sensation almost euphoric that comes over my body? Good question, Lauren. That just means to tell me that you are tapping into source energy. And so when you tap into source energy, it is euphoric. It truly is. And I can tell you that when I get up on stage, especially, that is exactly how I feel. So a lot of times people are like, well, doesn't getting up on stage scare you? And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, it's the best feeling ever. And it really is a euphoric feeling. It's because you're not necessarily conscious in your body, you're subconscious. You are then at that point connected to source God energy. So it's an amazing feeling. I just wish sometimes it would last longer, but understand that when you're meditating, that's ultimately kind of the goal that you want to get to. So that's a really good sign for me. I've been terribly paralyzed, it seems, as of lately. I'm 4.5 or 14.5 months clean and sober, and I feel stuck and somewhat lost. What can I do to help with my energy and my heart, but not hurt? Okay, here's the deal. Is that I'm going to tell you, Beth, most than likely you know what your long-term goals are, but you have no idea what your short-term goals are. So come up with a list of 3 goals that you'd like to hit within 6 months and 5 goals that you'd like to hit within a year. And you only. So where could you go? What could you get? What could you do that's going to make you happy? Not anybody else, not what's going to make mommy or daddy happy. What's going to make you happy? So no more self-sacrificing, Beth. I want you selfish. Okay, I want you taking care of you, all right? So that's the biggest thing I can tell you is get some short-term goals, get them written down on a sheet of paper, slap it on your bedroom wall. So when you wake up in the morning, you're looking at those goals going, that's why I'm getting out of bed. It's gonna help with the momentum. So the biggest thing is getting momentum. And the easiest way to do that, goals. Your spirit guides are here to guide you, but if you don't know what the hell you want, how do you expect them to guide you, right? So do babies that miscarry come back? A lot of times, Shelly, they do. A lot of times they do, believe it or not. What does it mean when lights turn off when I walk by them? Lisa, that means that your energy is at a high vibrational state. Electronics and I are not friends, especially Mercury retrogrades. But it just means that vibrationally speaking, your vibration is just high enough to affect electricity. It really comes fun when you have all of your groceries out and then the checkout line goes down. So that seems to happen to me all the freaking time. And then I got to pack all my groceries up and go to the next aisle over. So you're also going to notice it happening when you're not thinking of anything. So if you're actively not thinking, you're meditating. You're in a place of allowance to meditate. So therefore, you're going to blow up electrical things, including streetlights. Okay. If you were married 2 times, is it your last husband you would be with in heaven when you die? You'll meet both. It's remember, you're not a human when you die. You return to being a soul. So therefore, you'll meet everybody that you had in contact with and understand why you had that contact in the first place and what it taught you as a human. So you'll actually meet both. How can I help my 14-year-old daughter get out of her anger stage from her father's death in 2016? Ooh, Ashley, that's a tough one. I'm going to tell you what, I want a counselor, and I want a male counselor at that, because she has to learn how to communicate her anger instead of show it. And rightfully so. She's going to be pissed. Everybody grieves differently, and that's simply put her way of grieving. So I would tell you, counselor, number 1. Number 2, don't take it personal. Understand she's grieving, she's hurt, and she has no way to communicate that. And so her way of doing it's going to be through anger, and that's okay. It's just as long as we just got to kind of make sure that she's able to communicate that effectively. Being an empath, I have dragging everyone's else's emotions with me. I literally feel like I'm grieving all my recent deaths of the girls from Gretna and my daughter's friend who took her own death. Deborah, I'm going to tell you what, and I know this sounds awful, but when it comes to empathy, I don't want you watching the news. I don't want you watching or listening or hearing the same thing over and over. You've got to be able to put up a boundary with that and not allow it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to heal. You won't be able to heal. Yes, it sucks what happened in Gretna. Oh my gosh. And if you guys don't know what happened in Gretna, there was a car accident, I believe with 5 teenagers, and 4 of those teenagers died. And it's really disheartening for our community. It really does. But my empaths especially have taken it the most difficult. And so the biggest thing is, I want you to talk about it. I do. But unfortunately for an empath, when you talk about it, it just reoccurs and reoccurs and reoccurs, and you can't necessarily heal. So the biggest thing is, I'm going to tell you, pray, because that really is all you can do, and support their family and what they're going through, because that's really all we can do, and help each other in that aspect. But like I said, that's difficult. It really is. It broke my heart. So my doggy, Templeton. So, hi, buddy. He's just mad because normally he's on my lap. So he is my dog. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, good one, Cassandra. Top 3 things to do for depression during this month if it's already pretty rough. And that's what I'm saying, is that if you've got depression, by the end of the month, it's going to be difficult. So a couple things. 1, if you know that the energy coming is going to be difficult, I want you to clean your house. I want the house clean, because clean house equals clean mind. It's really going to help out, okay? Number 2, make sure that you got to force yourself to get out of bed. And I know that it's hard. If you're depressed, make no mistake about it, it's extremely difficult, okay? But I want you to get out in the sun. And I know it's like freaking bazillion degrees outside. Sunlight helps with depression. It always does. All right. Number 2 or 3, take an Epsom salt bath. So depression and Epsom salt baths should go together like peanut butter and jelly. So a lot of times they're finding now that depression is linked with a manganese or magnesium issues, and that is exactly what salt bath is. It's chock full of that stuff. So take an Epsom salt bath. Now, many times you guys are going to hear me talk about take a sea salt bath. Sea salt is good for spiritual cleansing. Epsom salt's good for body stuff, body healing. But depression and Epsom salt go together, okay? So hopefully I'm making this right. And then third, believe it or not, lots of lemons. So I want you to wear yellow. I want you, anything yellow, anything, think sunlight, think lemons, anything yellow I want you to eat. Lemon water is awesome. Diffuse lemon. So anything yellow, all those things are really going to help. But if you know this could possibly be an issue later this month, let's prepare for that. Let's get ready for that. And those are some things that we can do to kind of prepare you to get there, okay? All righty. I have one of those little grid kits for abundance. Ooh, I love those things. They're so fun. How many times should you say the affirmation? I say three. So remember, spiritually speaking, 1, 3, 6, 9, 12, high vibrational numbers. So any amount of those, 1, 3, 6, 9. So I usually do 3 for my affirmations. So like I said, 3 is perfect. So, let's see here. This is my birth month. Do I need to prepare for anything this month, or am I just plain lucky? It depends. So like I said, this month it's going to be spicy. It's going to be real spicy. So, as long as, again, if we know this is coming, we can prepare for it. So, but as far as the birthday month, it's my daughter's. She turned 16 on the 10th. So, right in the middle of a retrograde. But as long as you're planning for the retrograde, meaning that you leave plenty early to get places, travel plans might not quite go like you like, but as long as you're prepared for that, should be okay. Really should. Why do I feel connected to the dog, the bounty hunter's wife, when she died? Most unlikely, Colt, because you're an empath, and she just was a good person. I mean, she really was a good person. Unfortunately, she just recently passed due to cancer. So, but like I said, I think a lot of it has to do with she was just a really good person, and her personality was great. So I think that's probably why you're going to miss her. But go back and look in your past and see if maybe, that she reminds me of like a mother figure or a grandmother figure. So that very well could be where that one's coming from too. Let's see. Cindy is asking, Mercury retrograde and job hunting. Any tips on interviews? Not really, but just expect the unexpected. The biggest thing is trust your gut. If you go into a business and you're like, feels like drama, get out. So trust your gut. Like I said, if it doesn't feel right, it ain't right. So the biggest thing with my empaths is they feel it, but then their logical brain talks them out of it. So the biggest thing is if it doesn't feel right off the bat with an empath, it's a no-go. So I don't care how you try to make it work in your brain, it's simply put a no-go. Hillary, son with autism is having issues. Almost seems as if he can't settle down and meds aren't working. Ooh, like I said, this is going to be a tough month for my autistic and ADHD. So again, I would tell you, Hillary, if you don't have a grounding pendant for him, might be a good idea. Also, let him have black rocks and get his butt outside. I don't even care at this point, especially for this month. You notice kids that if they need grounding, they're going to collect like pine cones and sticks and rocks, and they're going to collect all this outside nature crap and bring it all in. And you're like, oh my gosh. So, but understand they're doing that because it's a grounding mechanism for them. So remember, kids that are autistic and ADHD are highly sensitive kids. They're me, okay? So we want to get them outside in Mother Nature as much as possible. Limit the time for the entertainment, meaning TV, cell phones, gaming systems, computers. Limit the time this month for those kids, or they are going to hit the ceiling. So, and if they hit the ceiling, you ain't getting any control over that. So the biggest thing is really watch and monitor the electronical time, because it stimulates us so much that we're already hyper-stimulated due to the new moon and the eclipses and all this other crap that's going on. And then you're going to give us electronics? Oh, Lord, we're going to chew on the ceiling. So biggest thing is outside time, black rocks, bring nature in, do what you can. Do what you can to help them out. But mostly connect them to the earth. And I'm talking shoes off, running around in the grass. That's what I'm talking. So that should help. Charging crystals. Okay, here's the deal, guys. We charge crystals on a full moon. So just think of the full moon and think of how bright it is. That's what's going to charge and cleanse your crystals. So we want to put our crystals out on a full moon. Now a new moon is coming tomorrow. New moon means that it's time to sage. It's all about new beginnings, new cycles, endings. So on a new moon is when you sage. Full moon is when you charge. All right. So new moon is coming tomorrow. So today, tomorrow, the next day, make sure that you sage the house, clean the energy out. Generally speaking, you do want to sage your house about once every month or so. So unless you have a lot of company or 3 teenagers in the house like I do, then you want to sage a little bit more often. So that should help. Okay. I feel like I've screwed up and I'm scared to make a move. How do I get my confidence in my feelings? You know, that's a really good one. And I'll tell you what, you have to be okay with not giving a shit what other people think. And I'm going to tell you, there are 2 of our biggest fears as humans is fear of rejection and loneliness. And if you can understand that you are never alone, you always have your loved ones and your spirit guides and angels around you, and once you tap into that energy, you will know that you will never be alone. And fear of rejection is being comfortable in your own skin and owning who you are from your past to where you're at now, and forgiving yourself and being, okay with who you are. I'm not going to make everybody happy. I am not perfect. I never will be, but I'm okay with where I'm at. And if I screw up, I own it. So, but not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to appreciate or approve of what I do for a job or who I am. And that's okay. So, but I'm never going to please everybody. So, but you have to be comfortable in your own skin with who you are and what you want to do with your life. And if somebody has a problem with it, it's their problem. Don't make it yours. So, but I've learned a while back, I don't tell people my next moves anymore. I just do it. So, and if somebody has a problem with it, it's their problem. But many times I'll just tell them, I'm like, I'm sorry, I wasn't asking for your opinion. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So, but you have to be okay with yourself to have that constructive criticism, but don't take it personal. You never take criticism or someone else's opinion of you personally. Don't do that, because they'll tell you what, it's not their damn business anyway. So, body use camper, feels a little funny, sage it. Yeah, anything that you buy that's used and you bring it into your own personal space, sage the hell out of it. I do. So that way it's coming in neutral. So especially my empaths, you guys can feel that energy. That's why I'm like going, oh, gross. I love antique and I love vintage. Oh my gosh, I love that stuff, but I can't touch it. I can't touch it. So Kelly doesn't do hospitals, antique malls, and psych wards very well. So, but usually I buy it new, but it's look antique. So, but I can't handle the energy. So, and a lot of my empaths can't. So, knowing you're an indigo and I'm an empath, how do I know? How do I find out what color I am, and how do I get my spirit guides to talk with me so I don't feel so empty? Meditation's not asking. So, Deb, they're probably already talking to you and you don't even know it. So, and I'll explain what I mean. So, if you're, for instance, taking a shower and you're like washing your hair, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, did I just have a conversation with myself? Yeah, you just had a conversation with your spirit guides. They're not going to come in in their voice in your head. It would freak you the hell out, and you go to the doctor being like, Doc, I'm hearing voices. It doesn't work that way. It always happens very nonchalant, real, like quiet. It's not like a 2x4 like you want. However, vibrationally speaking, if your emotions are relatively negative, or you're dealing with stuff in your reality, then your reality is going to take precedence over your spirituality. Meaning that if you know you need to get a damn divorce, get the damn divorce, so then spiritually speaking, you can boom, rise. So remember, you're here to learn lessons. So your lessons will always take precedence over your spirituality. It's no different than me. If I have drama in my real life, I best be fixing it real damn quick. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to do my job. So it affects me too. So just understand that your reality is always going to take precedence. So make sure that you're happy, you're grateful, you're in high vibration. So you're in a place of allowance for them to communicate with you. So it's probably that they're trying to communicate with you, but you're not in a place of allowance to allow them to communicate. So hopefully that makes sense. So what is schizophrenia? My brother has been diagnosed since he was in 10th grade. He is now 40. You know, Ashley, I'll tell you what, and this is something that I really had to think about, and I finally got some really good answers. Schizophrenic people and me as a psychic medium are the same. So schizophrenics are drowning in the waters that I am floating in, meaning that I hear dead people talking to me. I hear voices. I get feelings. They hear voices. They get feelings. Only I know how to control mine, and I make sure that I am only talking to people for my highest good and for your highest good. Schizophrenic is the opposite. They're in their negative, I'm in my positive. But we are the same. They are simply drowning in the same waters that I float in. So honestly, we are no different. So, and it really is, we see things the same way. It's just that they have the tendency to be in a negative state of mind. I will tell you, a lot of times I'm noticing that schizophrenics have traumatic, they had a traumatic childbirth. So they might have had complications like forceps were used, or they got stuck in the birth canal, or so I'm noticing schizophrenics really did have trauma with birth. So sometimes that does things with it too. But I've noticed that they and I are really honestly identical, but I'm just in my positive, they're in their negative. So hopefully that answers that question. How do you connect to those who are deceased? How do you get into the zone? Good question. Number one, you got to learn how to meditate. And the reason why I say that is because if you can't control your thoughts to get them quiet, then you can't get in a place of allowance for that quietness for them to start coming in and talking to you, okay? So number one, you've got to learn how to meditate so you can start learning how to control your thoughts, okay? But the more you meditate, the more it allows like kind of a bit of a stillness. But number two, I'm going to tell you, for me, it feels like I'm using my imagination. So, and that's why I'm like, I tell people, it's not this, oh my God, I'm talking to a dead person in my head. It doesn't sound like that. It feels like it's my imagination. It feels very random. I get a picture or image in my head. I might hear me talking to myself in my own head. A lot of times is what it sounds, but it's faster than I can comprehend. So I'm like, did I just hear that? Did I just see that? Why did I just see, a dove? Why did I just see a red rose with a bug on it? So everything that I see, I simply either know what that code or their language means, or if it's something that I don't know, I'm going to tell them. So like the other day, I saw a green feather. I'm like, they've never sent me a green feather. I told her, I said, I don't know why your mother keeps showing me a green feather, but I just need to acknowledge that. And she goes, oh my God, I found a green feather just yesterday. I'm like, oh, well then your mother sent it. So it didn't necessarily have a meaning behind it, but it was significant for the person that was sitting ahead of me. So pay attention to the randomness. There is no such thing as coincidence or randomness, not when you're doing my job at 8. So, and once you see that, you start to see how fluid and connected spirit and people really are, and how much they come in constantly to try to help us. And that's why I'm like, just the more you pay attention to it, the more you're going to notice it. The more you notice it, the more you see it. The more you see it, the more it gets proven. The more it gets proven, you get validated. The more you validate it, you trust it, you just go with it. You don't question it anymore. So, but it is a step-by-step basis. So just like I said, take your time with that, baby steps, but trust it. And that's hard sometimes when you don't get a validation back right away. Okay. Is pneumonia tied to the heart or throat chakra? Always the heart. Lungs, heart, always the heart chakra. Almost always dealing with grief. So, or sadness. That's where we hold it, is in the heart chakra. It seems people wait for me to be around them before they cross over, die. What's that about, Tracy? There are certain people that are here for that transition. So I call those earth angels. So there are certain people that are here to provide us comfort and peace right before we transition to go home. So those make the best hospice care nurses ever. So, but there are just certain people that are here to do that. Some are here for birth, some are here for death. Either way, same thing. So birth and death to me are the same thing. Sometimes when I'm talking to someone about someone who has passed away, I start having messages run into my mind from them, but I cannot control who or the conversation. How do you learn how to control this? Shelley, that is exactly what Mediumship 101 is all about. So you learn how to meditate, you learn how to control. So, but sometimes it's not always in control. Sometimes it just happens. So you just kind of have to go with it. So, but if you feel comfortable with relaying the message to whomever you're speaking to, do so. So I had to learn that when I first started, I would go up to people and I know that their dad is like right behind them, but I'd be like, oh, I had a dream about your dad and he said this. And they're like, holy crap. So I said it in terms of, oh, I had a dream about your dad. That was a little bit more believable than me saying, oh, by the way, I'm a medium and your dad's standing right behind you. So it freaked people out when I first started. So I've learned just to say, oh, well, I had a dream. And that's how I would relay the message when it came across. It was a little bit easier for them to accept rather than going, oh, that's not true, and not listening to what I had, listen to the message or listen to what I had to say. All right. So, what is your insight on autism? Okay, so here's the deal. So on a scale, there's different scales. So there's a different scale to empathy, 1 through 10. My 10 empath is the mama hen whose heart bleeds, the self-sacrificer, the mama hen who must take care of people, plants, or animals because that is their purpose, okay? So autism on that spectrum of empathy is at a 10. So me having ADHD, I'm on the far spectrum for an indigo. As far as a crystal child is concerned, a 10 on that scale is an autistic child. So they have the same abilities that I have. They interpret it or download it, simply put a different way. They do it more by feels. Unfortunately, their human abilities and their psychic, because we have 5 human senses and 5 psychic senses. Autistic kids fuse those together. So it's difficult for them to, when they hear a noise, it's in their soul. That's the best way I can put it. And I've had a touch of this when I was going through my awakening really fast. But it feels like when you're going shopping, like all eyes are on you and you're walking around naked. And not only that, you're happy, you're sad, you're emotional, then you're fine, then you're angry. So you have all these emotions in like a matter of a span of 5 minutes. And it's extremely difficult, let alone the noises are like 8 times as loud in your head. The feeling makes your skin crawl. I mean, I really feel for my autistic kids because they're me but more within the feel realm of it. I can see and hear very well, they feel. And that makes it a lot more difficult. So I always tell my moms with autistic kids, please let them wear their hoodies. So we always like to wear hoodies, and we like to have this part of us protected. So many times we'll have hair and we'll want it here, and we want our ears protected because we want our crown chakra and our third eye chakra to be protected. The more protected we feel, the more comfortable we're going to be. But there are days that we just can't tap out. So there are certain days where I can't tap out either. And those usually mean meltdowns for my autistic kids. Usually I'm pretty good about fair warning people. If you follow me on Facebook, almost always I'm like, okay, guys, buckle up. It's going to be a difficult day. You're going to see it with the kids first. The kids are by far the most sensitive, whether they're autistic, ADHD or not. They're the most sensitive. So you're going to notice it on the animals and the children first. Then it's going to hit us adults. So watch your kids. They're usually the indicators on how your day is going to go. All right. So, okay. How soon after passing does someone come through in a reading? Honestly, most of them come through right away. However, I tell people to wait 3 months after they're passing before you come in for a reading, because 9 times out of 10, you're still in shock, especially if they crossed over very quickly. You are not going to hear what I have to say, or let alone remember what I have to say, because you're still in a state of shock. Okay, so 3 months, you're kind of grieving, and it's easier for me to hear them at that point because they're settled in. So understand that it's my energy, your energy, and their energy, that we have to form like a triangle in order for that communication to happen. So sometimes if it's suicide, they need time to settle down over here. Sometimes they have to go to the hospital, because there is a hospital setting over here. So if they have to go to the hospital, well, then we got to wait a little bit. So, and that does happen on the occasion. If it does, I give you your money back and say, you know what, today is not the day. So we got to give this a little bit more time. So, and I'm really good about that. But for the most part, they come through right away. But usually it's the client that isn't ready to hear what they have to say, or they disagree. So, like for instance, sometimes I'll have a disagreement where, you know, I'll have a lady that's like, no, he was murdered. He was murdered. I'm like, no, ma'am, this was suicide. And they fight with that because they don't want to accept the truth. And sometimes it takes that 3 months for them to go, okay, I think I'm realizing now what went on. So again, there's a lot of different reasons, but generally speaking, I tell people, please wait 3 months before you get a reading, because it's just better all the way around. How do you tell if something is a sign, message, or not? I take everything as a sign. I just do. So I don't question it, because anymore I'm like, well, that's interesting. So if it's interesting or curious or random, it's most than likely a sign. So what are my thoughts on Palladians? I like them. So understand, she's talking about the Palladian star seeds or things like that. So star seeds, meaning that our DNA is infused with, you know, different alien DNA, things like that. I would agree with that. You know, you can't be so naive to think that us humans are the only living things in our galaxy, let alone all the other galaxies. So but you know, Palladians are here to help us transition from that 4D reality into 5D reality, or 3D to 4D, however you want to look at it. There's kind of some debate with that. But they're here basically put to help us level up. So they are here to help guide us only if asked. So remember, you have to ask to be guided. So you can't just expect it. So remember, ask and you shall receive. Don't forget to ask. So that's the biggest thing. Do you believe in telepathy between two living people separated by states? Well, hell yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They could be dead or alive. It doesn't matter. There is such thing as communication telepathically. Absolutely. Look at twins. Twins do it all the time. So they don't even have to talk to each other. They just look at each other and know what each is thinking. But that's also what happens with couples that have been married 25 years plus. So when it says two souls become one, a lot of times if you're married to somebody for a long amount of time, you don't even have to talk to them. You're having a conversation subconsciously with them already. You already know what they're going to say before they even say it. So this also happens when their soulmate then crosses over. It's almost just like they get a piece because they still have that conversation telepathically speaking. So understand, does that exist? Yes, of course. That's my job. So, but it absolutely happens with everybody else. And remember, my ability and what I do as a psychic medium is absolutely teachable. Everybody has this ability. Everybody does. So I am no special other than everybody else. This is absolutely teachable. So that's why I did Enlightenment Academy, was to teach this. So don't, like I said, don't think that I'm extra special and that I can do it. No, you can do it too. Everybody can. It just takes work, takes practice. So it's like learning how to play the piano. Some people are just naturally good at it. Other people, they got to take a lot of lessons. So, but everybody's different. So, but don't compare your journey with somebody else's journey. It doesn't mean that they're better or worse. It doesn't mean that. So it just means that you're with your journey, need to accept where you're at, but understand that you can also work on it too. So thoughts on deja vu. Deja vu means that you have foreseen the future in your dream. That's what deja vu is. You're hashing it out again in real life when you've already had a subconscious vision of it. So deja vu is a precognitive dream. My mom passed away with just me with her. My brother had left a little while before her passing. Thoughts? Jennifer, I'll tell you what, she probably did that on purpose. And I'm going to tell you what, a lot of times, if she passed with your brother being gone, she did that purposely. So meaning that she knew that you could handle it. She knew that your brother probably couldn't. So sometimes they choose to cross over a certain way with certain people. So they sure can. That's what I'm like, tell him that not to take it personal. So, and that she probably did it knowing that he couldn't handle it quite as well as you could. So if you see replicating numbers throughout the day, what does that mean? It means that you are absolutely at that point going through a spiritual awakening and that you are connected to God's source energy. If you see a lot of replicating numbers like 4, 5, 6, 7 in one day, that means to tell me that you're really tapped in, and that's the time to really ask, okay, God, this is what I need. So be real, ask for what it is that you need. It's not being selfish. You're here to live your life for you. You are not here to self-sacrifice for everybody else and put yourself dead last. You will be miserable if you do. Your job is to take care of you first and help people second. And that's really backwards thinking, because we're told, especially as women, that you need to take care of the family and take care of everybody else. No, you take care of you first. If you work on your happiness, you're going to make your whole family happy. So that's how it works. Me trying to understand the number 8. Number 8 is all about abundance or lack of, depending on how you're looking at it. So, okay, I think I'm a healer. Hot hands, forehead, focus in the heart center. What do I need to develop this gift? I will tell you, let's get you learning from a Reiki master. I used to teach Reiki. I will tell you, with my schedule, it is so difficult for me to fit that in because it is an all-day thing. So I would tell you, find a Reiki master who is willing to teach you. So that way you can get attuned and learn how to do it the right way, and then go from there. So, and go to somebody that you feel comfortable with. A lot of times people will go to somebody and they're like, well, yeah, they're good, but we just don't click. I'm like, then find somebody else. So find the person that you're going to click with, who you feel that can teach you. But when it comes to energy work, energy healing, Reiki stuff, can I do it? Yes. But unfortunately, I don't have enough time. Like I said, at this point, with my tour beginning to start in August, I do live audience readings. So with my tour starting, my workshops, and doing all these other things, and 3 teenagers in the house, something's got to give. And unfortunately, it is the Reiki. So I won't be teaching that anymore because I don't have enough time. So, Ashley, how do my kids, family, myself know for sure how the kid's dad died? Medical examiner said one thing. Everyone thinks it was from something different. That's one of those where you go to a medium and relay that message. So I guess that would maybe be the best way to do it. Otherwise, almost always you have to go 9 times out of 10 with what the medical examiner says, unless you have evidence outside of that. So like police evidence or evidence outside of that. But I usually don't do hearsay. I don't do what somebody else says or thinks. I go by what the dead person's telling me. So I don't do hearsay very much. So because that's irrelevant to me. So hopefully that makes sense. So okay, Dawn, great question. Dawn's asking, she goes, my dad died yesterday. Do pets go to heaven and will I be with them again? Yes, yes, and absolutely yes. Okay, animals are here to teach us unconditional love. So that's their job. They are here to provide us with love. I don't care if it's a bird. I don't care if it's a rat. I give no shits what you think it should or shouldn't be. If it's an animal or a pet and you love it, and it's going to love you back no matter what. So animals sometimes do reincarnate. So sometimes you'll, like, for instance, for me, I had a dog that died that I grew up with. His name was Spud. It had 1 ear up and 1 ear down, right? So when I went to go adopt another dog, Jazz came around and it had 1 ear up and 1 ear down. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my dog, right? So about 8 months ago, I had to put my dog down because she was 14, she was old. It was time for her to go. What I found fascinating is when I put her down, I realized that when I got a divorce, I adopted my dog. And when I got married, I had to put her down. She was there for the time in between my marriages. She was there for me when I needed her the most, for comfort and unconditional love. And that is exactly what she provided me. Now, do I think that dog will come back around again? Absolutely. Is it Templeton? No. So, but that's okay. So, like I said, I need a dog to pick up after 3 teenagers. That's why I got one. So let's be real. But this dog is my dog. So, oh my gosh, I love him so much. But animals are here to teach us unconditional love. Now, understand animals don't reincarnate as humans, and humans don't reincarnate as animals. We don't do that. So that's why I'm like, so just understand humans are humans, animals are animals, but animals can come back into our lives a couple times. So I do have a black cat. He's outside right now chilling. It's because I let him outside. He likes to go outside. So, but my black cat Leo is very similar to the same cat I had growing up that got hit by a car, and his attitude is identical to that cat. So I know that's my cat reincarnated, but my dog, this one isn't. So hopefully that answers that question. So let me see. Let's see if there's any more questions. I'm having to scroll up because you guys are all quiet. So, how do you know when you're moving to a level 4? Lisa, you feel isolated and alone. That's how you know you're at a level 4. You're looking around going, well, it's lonely at the top, but it feels right. So that's a level 4 for me. Okay, when we have stomach issues, what does that mean? Okay, here's the deal. I have a very sensitive stomach. The higher you vibe, the lower your threshold is for junk food. So it's because vibrationally speaking, your body's like, oh, hell no. So you eat a Taco Bell, yeah, it's gonna get you about 20 minutes. So understand that the higher you vibe, the more intolerant you are of low vibrational crap man-made food. So really watch what you're eating because it's going to make a difference. So it's no different that before I jump up on stage, 3 days before that, I'm eating nothing but salads, greens. I'm eating very healthy because vibrationally speaking, it really helps. But what it really helps with is the next day, I'm not so drained. So if I don't eat really well and fast, don't overeat, it really helps with not only me being up on stage, but the next day as far as recovering is concerned. So, but like I said, the higher you vibe, the lower tolerant you are of crap food. You're just not gonna be able to handle it. So, are people in comas on both sides? Yes, they are. Same with dementia or Alzheimer's. I do not, and I won't because of the ethical implications. If their mother is severely into dementia or has Alzheimer's, can I talk to that soul? Yes, I can. But I'll tell you what, I won't, because of the moral implications of it. So I will not relay messages. I have to leave it up for the family members to decide what is best to do with whatever's going on. And that's one thing, especially with coma. Again, morally or ethically, I just don't think it's right. I don't. So can I, as a medium, talk to him? Yes. But will I? No, I won't, because I don't think that's right. I really don't. Given that it's Pride Week, what insight can you give about unconditional love? That's a really good question. I'm going to tell you what, I asked this question too. Remember, when you come into this world, you pick a theme that you really have to work at, that you really is kind of your Achilles heel. And everybody's got an Achilles heel. Mine is my love life. I will always, and I won't say struggle, but that is going to be a lesson that needs in my world. Some people it's their job, some people it's grief, some people it's abandonment, some people it is self. So understand that if you come into this world and the 4 previous lives you had was a guy, and you come into this world and you're a female, that feeling of transgender, like this, I should not be a girl. I need to have boy parts, and I'm attracted to girls, not guys. So understand, coming into this world, what a better lesson to learn about yourself by putting yourself in that predicament. So for me, it doesn't matter. Gender, race, religion makes no damn bit of difference on the other side, because when you die, your soul, my soul, the gay guy's soul, the lady's soul, the black guy's soul, identical. You leave your human shit here. When you die, you go back to being a piece of God's light, which looks like an orb. So your soul, my soul, everybody else's soul is identical. So to judge someone based on their race, religion, gender, or anything other than that is simple stupidity on your part. So that's why I have a really hard time when it comes to people in judgment of that, because at the end of the day, it makes no damn bit of difference. Remember, we are all here in this world to learn your own individual lessons. And what a better way to learn with a bunch of polarity and a bunch of other factors to just come into the mix. So it just makes it more enriching to learn about your own life when you have all these different factors. So at the end of the day, when you die, you're able to look back and go, wow, that was a hell of a ride. And look at all these people that I met, and look at all these different circumstances that I got to learn about myself even better. Okay, so generally speaking, that's kind of how you want to look at that. But again, to judge someone based on anything other than themselves being a piece of God's light, as are you, then that's how you're supposed to be looking at it. But anything other than that is foolishness. It really is. So, okay. La, 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 la. I'm trying to get through all this. Since I have started my spiritual journey, in the past year, I've seen 5 car accidents in front of me, 2 in the last 2 days. Is that my energy? No. I'll tell you what, it's not necessarily your energy, but I'll tell you what are you learning? What are you learning? When you see something like that, it makes your heart stop. But I guarantee you that you are learning something about your own life and how to appreciate your life while you are here. It's supposed to remind you that life is short and it can be gone at any point in time, and that you should be living life every day, balls to the wall, like you're going to be dying tomorrow. You really should. So a lot of times people will come to me and be like, so I just have a quick question. When am I going to die? My answer, tomorrow. That's how I respond every single time, tomorrow. And they look at me like this, and I'm like, what? You should be living life every day like you're going to be dying tomorrow. And if you're not, then that means to tell me that you're pissing your life away. So, like I said, the biggest thing is always keep that in perspective. You are only here for a short while, and you are not guaranteed tomorrow. You never are. So, and that is the one thing that I've learned by talking to dead people. I really have. I learned a lot from talking to them. I do not take one day for granted. I always tell my kids I love them any chance that I get. I always tell my peeps that I love them and that they're appreciated. Because at the end of the day, when I go, I want them to know that I do love them. So, because there's too many things that could happen with them or me. Vibing, I think I was vibing pretty high today, attributing to caffeine, but camera broke this evening, heard a huge pop, street light, oh yeah, that's all you, baby. You betcha. You are vibing high. So again, if you're blowing up electricity and electrical stuff, oh yeah, that's all you. So no such thing as coincidence. Born blind in the left eye. As I've been on awakening journey, the light flash peripheral sight seems to be returning. Ooh, that is normal, Jennifer. Human senses, 5 psychic senses, sometimes they blend. So meaning that when you first start seeing with your eyeballs dead people, you're always going to see them right here. That's why a lot of times people are like, did I just see something out of the corner of my eye? And I'm like, you just saw spirit. So because when you first start seeing, you're always going to see them peripherally, because the rods and cones in your eyes won't necessarily allow you to see spirit dead on with your eyeballs. I can kind of do it now, but it's still fuzzy. So when I see a dead person, I see the outline of them, but the nose, the eyes, the mouth, the details are difficult. So, but usually when you start to see that, you're going to see them up in the corner of your eye, all right? Why am I more protective of my son than I was my daughter, and she was a baby? Amanda, most than likely you've had a lot of previous lives with your son, and he may have died a previous life. So I'll tell you, the best way to do that is do like a past life regressional hypnotherapy session. So that way you can go back and maybe discover why that is. I will tell you that I personally won't tell you what your life or your life purpose is or what your past life is. And the reason why is because I can't validate it. I could make anything up and you guys would believe it. So without evidence, I'm not going to give you that. So your best bet of figuring out what your previous lives were is to do a past life regressional hypnotherapy session. Tim at A+ Hypnosis is awesome about doing stuff like that. I've done it. Highly recommend it if you haven't done it. It's a lot of fun. Other than... I'm going to do one more question, trying to find. So let me do one more question. Okay. I'm going to finish it with Kelly. Okay, Kelly says, what is the best way to address spirit when they come to you? I have been dead sleep at least 3 times by sensing someone in my room. I just don't know how to react. I'm going to tell you, Kelly, they're people too. Okay, that's how you have to look at it. So it's no different than somebody barging into your room and they're just walking right in. Like, they're people too, so treat them as such. So you control spirit. Spirit doesn't control you. So don't allow it. So meaning that you set up the boundaries. Don't talk to me at 3 in the morning. I do. So between 10:30 and 7 a.m., do not talk to me. Now, I have an office. You can come talk to me there. Do not come into my home. That is my sanctuary. So the biggest thing is set your boundaries. Absolutely set boundaries. But at the same time, understand that you're a human you're a spirit with a human body. They're a spirit without a human body. Therefore, your energy will trump every single time. So if you say get out, vibrationally, even with your words, they have to get out. It's a spiritual law. So the biggest thing is speak your truth. If you don't want to talk to them, tell them to get lost. You can also set up the proper boundaries. So what I mean by that is say, if you are for my highest good, you can stick around. So if not, you must leave now. So if they're a grandparent, if they're a loved one, if they're a spirit guide, if they're angels, they're going to stick around because you've set that parameter. So set your parameters. If you're for my highest good, you can stay. If not, get the hell out. So, and that's what you do when you sage. Not only are you ridding any residual energy, but you're also setting up boundaries stating that if you're from the highest good, you can hang around here at the house. So, but if you're not, you are not allowed to even get through these walls, all right? So, setting up boundaries is really important when it comes to spirit and spirit communication. So, okay, guys, I just want to thank everybody for attending again. The other thing that my husband just gave me, which I forgot to mention, we have these at Awakenings. These are called full moon candles. So we are getting these candles, and we have them now, but we're getting the candles that are going to be poured in the new moon and the full moon during the eclipse. So they're really good for manifesting. So you always want to light a white candle because spirit can see candle light, not man-made light. So if you light a white candle and meditate, boom, it really sets some things into perspective. So, but these moon batch candles, oh my God, the smell, and it comes with a crystal. You can see a little crystal on the inside too. So, but again, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching. Again, we do this once a month. If you haven't checked out Enlightenment Academy, it is my way of teaching the next generation of psychic mediums. So if you're really into that, awesome. I still offer workshops via live webinar, like what we're doing now, and also in person. So I want to thank you guys again for attending. I will see you next month. Make sure to write down those questions if you have any questions. All right, guys. Have a good July. Like I said, this July is going to be difficult. So take your breaks, go outside, find your Zen wherever you can get it. All right. Good luck, guys, and take care. Have a good July. Bye now.